Thanks for calling Guitar Center Hollywood, where we buy and sell used gear. How can I help you?
Drum department, please.
Hi, with drums?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
You guys got used kits there, right?
Used drum kits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slingerlands with kind of a leopard skin wrap, sort of a Carmine Apiece thing.
No, we do not, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Do you ever see anything like that?
I've been here for 2 years, and I've not once seen anything like that. Yeah, I haven't seen anything custom like that. The only thing that's kind of crazy is we have a DW with flames on it.
What color behind the flames?
It is a black sparkle-ish. It's kind of like a blackish... Yeah, it's definitely black sparkle with like a blue flame coming across them.
It looks badass?
Yeah, it's definitely the most unique kit in the store. I'll promise you that. So,
All right, how much for that?
$3,800.
I'll be down.
All right, man, what's your name?
Dave.
Is drummer right? Is it okay to say drummer?
Pounding his pulsing beat into the hearts of all America.
You motherfuckers are fucking all over this joint.
You do your kind of drumming, and I'll do my kind of drumming.
I have no more time. You don't know what I'm up against.
The only things I care about in this goddamn life are me and my drums and you.
The official explanation was he choked on vomit.
You suppose maybe I could put the drums in your place and sort of drop in once in a while?
Now back to Gene Krupa's syncopated style shortly.
Get up there behind those drums, lean back, close your eyes, get right in the groove there, give it a good steady beat.
I got blisters on my fingers!
I'd hit that.
I'm in Culver City,
Yeah.
California, with Nate Wood.
Yes.
Nate,
Hi.
thank you
Thank you.
for being here. We're in a friend of Nate's,
Billy Moeller.
Billy
His name.
Moeller.
Billy Moeller, yep.
His home studio.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful place.
Yes. He's a good friend.
Good friend, great musician, surrounded by great instruments.
Yeah. It was nice, beautiful Gretchen there.
Mm-hmm.
You're in town. You're leaving tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Brooklyn.
No, actually, I'm going to San Luis Obispo to play more with Donnie McCaslin. And then I go home for a day, and then I go on a 2-week tour with Kneebody, my band. Yeah. So this is like, I'm in the middle of stuff right now.
How long would you end up being at home for when you're...
Like 23 hours or something. Yeah, just like a fast connection, basically.
Do you like it that way?
I mean, I've been home for the last 2 months, so it's cool to be doing that right now, you know? A real concentrated block of playing, so it's cool.
You the last 2 months you've spent in New York.
In New York, yeah.
In the cold.
In the cold, yeah.
How's it feel out here? I see you're in the short sleeves.
Yeah, it's insane.
At night.
I got off the plane and it was like I had never felt warmth before.
Yeah.
Just it had been so long.
You're from here.
I'm from here, but you just forget so quickly.
How long you been in here?
5 years.
So do you still feel new, or
No.
It feels...
Yeah, this feels weird to me now. LA feels weird.
This feels weird.
Yeah, New York really makes sense now.
This is a foreign place now.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like driving feels weird.
Yeah.
Like driving for a long time I don't have those chops anymore. So, you know.
I like the use of the word chops on that. That's
yeah, because it takes a certain amount of patience, and you get used to doing it every day, but I just don't have that. It's like, man, really? It's an hour again? You know?
But you're pretty local in Brooklyn then.
Yeah. Yeah, I live in Greenpoint, so it's just, you know, train to anywhere really fast, you know?
Right.
So
Not getting it to Manhattan much.
No, but I am. Yeah, it's pretty easy. G to E, I'm right there. Yeah, are you're half? You split half and half, right?
No, I'm out here now full time.
Oh, you are full time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you still have a New York number though.
I do. I've had that number for many, many years.
Right. And I have an LA number. Yeah.
Let's switch phones. That'd be a fun experiment.
Yeah, just not tell anybody.
Yours won't ring though. Your new one will not ring.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you'll get text from my wife, and that's it.
So okay. Oh, you are married.
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
No.
Okay.
Just dogs.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes it easier for all the traveling.
Yeah.
Is I'm getting at.
Totally.
Yeah. Because you see the difference.
Oh yeah.
You're friends with kids.
Yeah, couldn't do it. No way.
Okay, so you're going out with Kneebody.
Mm-hmm.
How long is that?
That's just a 2-week thing, and then we're home for 2 weeks, and then out for another 2 weeks or something.
Nice.
So
whereabouts? Actually,
it's all in the States. It's like we're playing new like Midwest markets like Detroit, St. Louis. Just some new areas like that. And then next month is like L.A., Oakland, San Francisco, Phoenix, stuff like that.
Look at you. You'll be back out west.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah.
That's great, though.
Yeah.
All right, so I saw you at the Nashville drum show.
Oh, playing bass with Wayne and
Keith Carlock, yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
What that was 2 years ago, am I?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. The thing about you is obviously all the instruments and all that. Like, where did you find the time to do all this?
Well, it was there were a couple of reasons. First of all, my parents are musicians. My dad played with Kenny Loggins. That's what he's like maybe best known for or whatever. Like for about 10 years.
What era was that?
It was the era. You know, like he sang. My dad sang on the bridge of Footloose. Like his voice is on there.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't Loggins Messina.
No, it was like, you know, the mid '80s Kenny Loggins, Danger Zone, all that stuff. So my dad was touring with him. He was the keyboard player, sang backgrounds and musical director, and wrote a bunch with Kenny. But my dad's also a multi-instrumentalist, and now he's at home scoring IMAX movies, like big cinematic scores, and he's a great engineer. And yeah, and my mom was a singer-songwriter. So I always looked at music through the entire production, I think, just because of my dad kind of sitting there making full pieces, you know, not just practicing one instrument all the time. And then also my neighbors, when I was growing up, gave me a hard cutoff of I had to stop playing drums at 5 p.m. So I could only practice from 3 to 5, basically, when I got home from school to then. So after that, it was like, oh, okay, I can do my homework, but then I might as well just learn how to play guitar or something.
Right.
So then I just picked up guitar and bass. And when Billy left to college, because I grew up with Billy, there were no good bass players in town that were our age. So I bought a bass, and I was like, I'll just take all his gigs, you know, and just play with all these guys that I think are really good. And that's how it worked. And then I've just started playing bass with everybody. So that's how it worked.
Right.
And I thought those things would kind of be a hobby. I thought like bass and guitar would be a hobby, but I've gotten a lot of work for each of them.
Sure. Well, what I was curious about is, did you have other interests as well outside of music?
No, not really. Not really. I like real estate kind of, but no, music's pretty wide, you know. And now I'd say that most of my income comes from mastering records. So that's like I can stay home and do that. So it's just endless. Music is huge, you know. But drums is my first love, you know.
That is.
It's my
official
first love, and I've put the most hours in on that instrument. So I think that's my identity. Starts with that, I think.
But you're a songwriter. That's got to be a big part of your identity.
That is a big part too. Yeah, I started doing that later, and only since moving to New York have I started playing out live with that stuff, which is insane because I get to the amount of players out there that are, you know, all of my favorite drummers live there, and I've gotten to play with all of them playing my music almost, you know, which is just crazy, you know, just to call my friends and, you know, or drummers that I love and just get to hear them on my music. So, but I didn't start playing that stuff live until I got out there, so now it's kind of turning into more of a thing, I think. But anyway, it's just a fun hobby, you know.
So when you're at home, do you pick up the bass? Do you pick up a guitar? I mean,
I mostly practice drums, but I'll go through phases with each instrument. But I still play with Wayne, playing bass sometimes. Like we're about to do, I'm going to do 3 weeks in Europe with him and Cliff. And I think we're going to do double drums too. But yeah, so I'll shed a bunch of bass obviously before that. Or every time I was playing in town, we were doing a bunch of gigs with Wayne and Keith at the 55 bar. So I would make sure that I had my chops up for those, of course. But in terms of practicing, it's like just drums basically.
Is that a constant?
I mean, not super constant, but kind of constant, you know, like enough so I can see some kind of movement or progression, you know.
Right.
So
on a kit or on a pad?
On a kit mostly. I have I have a whisper room in my loft in Greenpoint, so I can practice full volume. But I do more pad work now than I've ever done, which I find really helpful.
Anything spur that on?
You know, what did actually was just my friends who I know were in marching band. And I can hear somebody play eighth notes and be like, you were in marching band. You know, like Keith Carlock, you were in marching band. Mark Juliana, you were in marching band. I can just hear it from the way that somebody plays eighth notes. And there's a certain kind of strength to that sound, like D. Anthony Parks. Like guys like that, where it's like, marching band is the only way you can get that, I think. Right. And it's like, this is something that nobody ever talks about, but I didn't have extreme drum corps training.
Yes.
And obviously nobody else in the world did either. So I see that difference and I can hear it. And what's the difference is just that they spent their summers playing 8 on a hand with like 15 guys in a row for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I think the pad kind of gives you that a little bit, or it can, you know. So I've been focusing on just doing time exercises and just making things flow and feel right, and it just translates. Really does. It's like one of those like eat your vegetables kind of things.
You feel it.
You feel it, and it's like it's one of those things that like I think like you read in drummer magazines or whatever, and you don't believe, and I was kind of like always anti that. So I never really like worked on rudiments or anything until...
You were never that guy?
No. And I didn't practice that much. I practiced, you know, maybe a couple hours a day when I was a kid. I never went through like the crazy 8-hour shedding session
Never.
type things, no. So the pad stuff came later, but I've really seen how like, oh wow, this really works.
What was it like back in the day when you would play? What were you playing? Were you playing along the records?
Yeah, I was playing along the records, like, you know, Steely Dan, Police, anything that felt good. Mm-hmm. Playing to metronome a lot. Like my dad, as I said, played with Kenny Loggins, and Tristan Bowden and him went to high school together.
You know Tristan Bowden?
Yeah, he's the reason I play drums, really.
Dude!
Tris is, yeah.
Love Tristan Bowden.
Yeah, I mean, he and my godfather who lives in Laguna Beach, Frank Continola, who nobody knows, those guys are kind of the reason I play drums. But he used to talk about Tris a lot, and the thing about Tris is that he was saying, when my dad first joined the band in 79, Kenny's band, they did this record called Alive, and they just took a 24-track tape recorder around, and they would record all the shows, and they said some of those edits are from the beginning of the tour and the end of the tour, and they never played to a click. And he said Tris's time was so perfect on every song every night that you could just edit one song from 3 months ago and it was dead perfect in the middle of the bridge. Yeah. So
well, he's had the gig with Chicago for like what
25 years. Yeah. He quit Kenny to go do that.
Yeah.
So my dad was still playing with Kenny when he quit.
Yeah.
So and my parents were in a band with Tris in the early 70s called Honk. It was like a famous band in Orange County in Los Angeles back then. So
unbelievable. Wow. So he's Uncle Tris.
He's totally Uncle Tris. Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, you know, he was really my idol when I was first playing.
So he like showed you some stuff.
Everything. Yeah, I was like I did a record with my parents when I was 16. And I sound exactly like Tris. Like everything I play, my feel, my sound is just like dead on Tris. You know?
How many Chicago concerts have you been to?
You know, not that many. Like maybe since he's just a few, really, honestly. Because I was kind of getting older when he started playing Chicago, and I just didn't go to him as much. But of course, I saw him play with Kenny a lot and with Honk all the time. So
right.
But
and he was just solid.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, so solid. So that's my point. That's what I grew up with. That was like my church was like that kind of timekeeping, which I still aspire to someday. Like hopefully I'll get there, and I learned other things along the way, so that's okay. But so I grew up kind of like doing sessions for my dad on the metronome and kind of playing like that, you know. So anyway, I don't know how we got into that, but
no. It's the idea of I was saying, what were you working on? If not shedding, you know, chops and you know.
Yeah, that's right. And then later it was like I got Alan Holdsworth records and I'd play along with those and stuff too. So that kind of started creeping in.
Yeah.
So it was those two things, but that was like the fun thing that I would do at the end is just like shred a little bit, you know.
Sure.
You know, and Wayne's music too. Like my dad and I went to a Steely Dan show when I was 16 or something, and Wayne was playing guitar, and my dad was just like, I would just quit guitar after that concert if I saw what I just saw, you know, if I was a guitar player, because Wayne was just scorching the earth. He was just killing it. So I went and bought all of his records and was just like, you know, like Zach was like a huge hero for me at that point, you know.
The 2-drink minimum era.
Yeah, just that, man, I listened to that record. I knew every note on that record. So yeah, so that was out of the.
And you would have shedded that on bass as well, at drum and drum?
A little bit, but a little bit on bass, yeah. But all my bass vocabulary came from Wayne's music,
How does that even happen? Like, how does Wayne Krantz get you on bass?
Because it's a funny era for advertising yourself because a lot of it is YouTube. Like, if somebody's considering you for a gig, they're going to check you out on YouTube. Right. So he saw me play drums and bass at the same time. He heard my pop records, and those were really the only experiences that he'd had with bass with me. And he kind of thinks like, I'd done the drum gig with him a bunch with Tim, and he kind of thought like, I'm sure he's going to get it, what I'm going for with bass. So he hired me kind of for a tour blindly, and he was a little stressed out actually. Like he kind of called me, he's like, are you sure? Because I also can't really read notes. So he's like, are you sure you're cool on this stuff? I'm like, it's going to be cool. Don't worry, So
he was a little nervous.
He was kind of taking a chance on it. He was kind of thinking most of the time we'd be playing double drums or me and Keith would be trading. Right. I think this is my theory.
Right.
But I got it and we played together and he was like, oh, okay, this is cool. It worked. But really, that's my home is that language, is his band, like studying Tim and Wayne's writing and stuff like that. So.
Sure.
So.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that particular gig I saw with Keith Carlock and Wayne. Mm-hmm. Is there any prep for that, or is that just go out there and go?
Go out there and go. I mean, the songs are like, the head is like 9 seconds long sometimes, or maybe 30 seconds long on like the longest one, and then the rest is just play, know. And then Wayne has this kind of framework of like the way that we might improvise, like, I mean, not what notes at all or anything. It's just completely ears and who knows what's going to happen. Sometimes he'll say like D, like we'll start in D, but it's not. We're already in F, and then it just morphs into like God knows what key it's in. So the improvising is really just anything. And then there's a few cues like to speed up and slow down. But really the written material is just that, Mm-hmm. So I just memorize it and then it's just improvise around it,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the prep. We did one rehearsal, I think, with Keith and Wayne for that tour.
I mean, you must approach these things differently than most of the drummers, even that are your favorites, in the respect of all the instruments you play, and your, like you said, you look at it as a whole. And I mean, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. I mean, I mean, do you? It's like I remember talking to Tim LaFave about pet peeves of drummers. Like, tell me some things that are just annoying that drummers do as a bass. Okay, well, can you do that? I mean, do you, as a bass player, do you see? Oh, now I get. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but I can't disconnect from it because I'm a drummer, so I feel like I'm in the game too. Like I'm in the pool, I'm the Shark Tank, whatever you want to call it. But so I can't see. And sometimes there's things that people do, where I'm like, I wouldn't have done that because of X, Y, and Z. But actually, I really like that. Like that was a choice that wasn't necessarily like I wouldn't consider it a musical choice, or maybe it was in some other way that I wasn't thinking about. So to answer your question, not really at all. But I'm fortunate because the people that I play with, I love playing with, or I get to choose to play with. I'm not playing with gospel chops guys or guys, which there isn't much of that in New York anyway. It's like, it's much, I mean, it's, yeah, so I don't run into that very much. Yeah, maybe out here I did. No, not really.
Well, you have your guys, as what you're saying.
That's the thing. I have the guys that I play with.
You have your guys, yeah. Who are some of your bass player guys?
Favorite bass players to play with?
Or just even favorite, and they can be dead as well.
Oh, like who I learned from?
Just in a very generalized sense. Who are your top guys?
Well, Anthony Jackson, who I got to play with the other night, which is like a total dream because Keith was snowed in, and Wayne was like, "Can you come play in Philly?" And I was like, "Yes." Anthony is awesome. I got to talk to him about his gear and stuff. He's the only guy I've ever transcribed on any instrument note for note. Like his playing on Chaka Khan's records, I learned him note for note and like really tried to imitate. And I've never done that on any other instrument, including drums. So it was amazing to get to play with him. And then Tim is just, he's like the future of bass, I think. And he's amazing. And the majority of my language comes from him. And then like, Paul McCartney, of course, and the bass player from XTC, Colin. Why am I forgetting his name? I'll remember it. But the bass player, he kind of plays like a modern Paul McCartney. Like I like melodic players where you could just solo the bass part and be like, wow, that was a great composition. Kind of, or like James Jamerson, where it's just like that's its own composition underneath the melody going on.
Yeah.
So those are the guys. And then, of course, the guys that I play with, like Billy was a huge influence on me because he's an amazing bass player. And Kaveh, the bass player that I play with Kneebody, is also a huge influence because he kind of approaches it from like almost like a guitar player that understands the role of a bass but can kind of just like screw things up with like a guitar player sensibility, which is really cool. Like gives me more room to almost be a drummer, like a bass player on drums sometimes. So those are the ones I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
So
you mentioned Chaka Khan. You got to work with Chaka Khan.
I did. Yeah, I only got to do one gig with her. It was going to be more, and then I think Vinny ended up being free I was subbing for Vinny, and Vinny.
It's not bad in itself.
No, it's not bad. Yeah, exactly.
You can get a T-shirt. I subbed for Vinny.
Yeah, and Chaka liked it, which was cool. I guess that means something. She was like, "You were good," like really nice.
Yeah, that means something.
Yeah, so it was cool. Yeah, so I was just one gig because.
Were you a Rufus guy? Was that?
Not really. I mean, I didn't really check that out as much as I said. Like Chaka's first couple of records, mostly just because of Anthony's work on that stuff. So, but yeah, I liked the music, and it was amazing to get to work with her, of course.
I saw it said you work with George Harrison.
Well, that's kind of a stretch, actually. It's my dad produced a movie that he was the focal point of the music, so he got to appropriate some of his music and take some new compositions, and I got to play on them. So I never met George Harrison, but my dad did. So I'm not sure how that worked its way into I think like the thing that's going around online that is...
You mean it's not all true online?
No, it is sort of, but I don't think I wrote it. Like I have no idea where it came from.
No, I'm joking, saying like, you mean there's facts that are...
I know, yeah, no, it's strange, but it's like...
That are wrong?
But it's like, how did that happen? It's like some random computer generated just combination of Google words.
Right. Well, is Sting true?
That's the same thing. It's like I played on a new Sting composition. I never met Sting. So, yeah, that's not true either. I mean, it's true in a way. It's only me playing on that song, but, I never met him, so. But, anyway, yeah. It's a song about the dolphins for an IMAX movie.
Oh, yeah. Right, the IMAX thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I do my best Stuart Copeland impression, because he's like... He's one of my main influences. But
I was gonna say, who are the drum guys for you?
I mean, Tris was kind of where it started. And Stuart Copeland was like,
I love that it's Tris and Bowden. I love that. Like, that's
just like he has a thing. If you know Tris, that that his personality is like he walks into the room and it's like sunshine, right? Like it's just like he's always fun to talk to. He's super interesting. He's like, he's just very positive, he just radiates. That's how he plays drums. Like when he plays in a band, like the whole band just like just blossoms. Even if he's just playing rock stuff, it's just like his energy shows through and it just makes the band sound great.
That is not an easy band. I mean, politically speaking, I imagine to have lasted 25 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I don't know if he's full member status, but I know he's still in Hawaii, right? He's still got the...
Yeah, I think he spends time between Hawaii and Malibu.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing great. Totally.
Who are the other guys? Stuart Copeland, you mentioned.
Yeah, Stuart Copeland, and I like the Steely Dan drummers. I wasn't as into like just pure pocket players, although like Jabo Starks is he's an exception. That guy's just a miracle to me. Mm-hmm. And Clyde less so, but I love Jabo and I love. Meters guy. What's his name?
Meters guy.
How can I not remember his name?
Well, because I can't either.
Yeah.
I just
Zigaboo.
Zigaboo.
Yeah.
Zig.
And don't
worry, I'll edit out that pause. Don't worry, I won't make you look bad.
No, pauses are fine. Jeff Porcaro and all those guys, like the Steely Dan guys. I was into all that because I loved like people's feels, and I always loved like. I could usually tell, especially when I was younger, I could tell this better, like the age of a drummer, just by the way that they played 2 and 4. Like you can just hear the space of their notes, and just like how much or little life experience they've had, like what their beat sounds like how old they probably are. And like Porcaro was playing on that Steely Dan stuff when he was 17, and he was like a really good 17-year-old, but he still sounded like he was 17. There was some like new quality to the way he like. I don't know, hit the drums or whatever. And then it just kind of, as he got older, it just was like, just turned into this huge thing. And Keith has had that too. Like when I was first hearing Keith on the early Wayne stuff, it was really like super linear, and every note was just like, perfect. And they are still, but now there's all this length to all of them, and there's width to it.
It fattens somehow.
Yeah, it just fattens. Even though they're all falling in the same place, it just gets this extra layer of gunk on every note that's just like makes them all congeal together in this thing that's like pretty undeniable. So I was always interested in that. But then I got into like, Holdsworth, as I said, and like Gary Husband was like a huge influence. And I realized later it's because he's such a fabulous piano player. And that's what I loved about his drumming in Holdsworth's band, is he didn't play like a Vinnie Colaiuta or somebody who's just like more of a drummer. Like Vinny's amazing.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But it was just like there was some other sensibility in that he just made Alan sound his best. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how does he do that? How does he know where Alan wants to go and just make it better or bring out the best in Alan in that section? And it's because he's such a great piano player and he understands, what to do melodically. Anyway, so he was a huge influence. And then when I got into college, it was kind of more jazz, like early Tony Williams stuff. And Paul Motion's like top 5 for me. Like I love Paul, and I got to see Paul a bunch before he died, and he taught me a lot about life. Just like he's such a
What are some things he taught you about life?
Well, like I mean, it sounds corny to say that, but he's just like one of those guys. Like a lot of people will say like, oh, he's like so flowery, he just plays on these ECM records and just kind of plays cymbals, or he's just kind of basic and he doesn't really sound like he knows how to play the drums. But like he's got such a deep understanding of music, and he's leaving so much out and leaving so many melodies to the listener that it's like a deeper approach to playing melodies than like a Max Roach or somebody like that who kind of spells it out for you more. It's like the next level of that, like impressionistic melodic playing, Mm-hmm. But not only that, but I saw him on a gig in New York a couple years, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it was a really bad gig. It was like the corniest like C major bossa nova ECM record that he just made an ECM record with these guys. I'm not going to say who they are, and the music was just going nowhere. And so he was doing crazy shit. Like, just like, the tempo's here, and then all of a sudden he's just like, and everybody turns around and looks at him. He's like, he did that on purpose. Like, he just wants to snap you out of it. So you're like think, motherfucker, like play something that's not stupid, Yeah. And so he was doing all those choices, and then finally it was like time for an open Paul Motion drum solo before the next like boring C major bossa nova. And it was like he was trying to end the world. Like he played the craziest shit I've ever heard come out of the drums. Like really bright peisty cymbals, and it was super aggressive, and like I don't know what happened. Like I was just like, holy shit, just like laughing and kind of crying and like, what is going on? And then they just went into this really kind of corny bossa nova, but he was clear, like he's like trying to direct the music, And then I saw him play again with a younger great sax player at the Village Vanguard. And he was much more happy because the music was great and all that stuff. But there was a point in which the sax player kind of went into like running scales mode, and they were just playing something like around that tempo. And Paul just goes like hits the ride cymbal in a very certain way, so that the sax player just kind of jolted out of what he was doing and just started playing beautiful, melodic, thoughtful stuff again. Just one cymbal hit was like,
wake up.
Yeah, it was like a whole sentence worth of like cussing somebody out just with like, So, I mean, that kind of shit is like, that's some mastery shit that you can't teach. And how do you get that? Like only really the masters have that. Yeah. Or I hate the word the masters.
Well, that was toward the end of his life.
That was towards the end of his life. But I think he maybe had that always, and you just didn't. You know what I mean? You just didn't hear it because you just took it for granted as part of like the sound of the Keith Jarrett Trio on that night or whatever. But getting to see it, and it was like you feel the dynamic in the room, and like, oh, this isn't really happening, and he like makes a shift that makes everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so he was a big influence. Who else? Keith, obviously, huge influence. Zach, huge influence.
Have you like spent time with these guys?
I've spent a ton of time with Zach. I'm good friends with Zach.
Sure.
I think. I mean, I've gone over to his place a bunch.
I like how you put that.
I consider. I mean, I think like we hang out a bunch and talk about drums, and he's made me coffee, and I've prototype some of his cymbals with him and stuff. So yeah, we're totally friends.
But I mean, you've sat down with him and just been like, "Hey, show me
we
something."
We don't really talk about drums that much. Yeah, I mean, Zach's like...
That's why you're friends with Zach.
Zach's like too smart for drums. Like his brain moves faster than like just like this one instrument, you know? He's... Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I love Zach. I didn't mean to say I think. I meant just because like, I don't know if he would consider... I guess he would. Anyway, but it's so cool to get to hang with him because he was such a... And it still is such a hero of mine. Like the way that he's playing now is like... It's new shit, you know? It's like he's always doing new shit. He's... so far ahead of everybody in his way, you know.
Way ahead.
Yeah, he's just, and it's like we saw him play the other night. I played with my wife. My wife's a bass player, a great bass player, and we got to play. We were playing at Rockwood, and I was playing guitar in this band, and my wife was playing bass, and actually Dan Weiss was playing drums, who is one of my new favorite drummers.
Yeah.
There's just never been a drummer like him.
Yeah.
And we finished in time to go next door and see Zach play with Josh Dion, who's also ridiculous, and Ollie Rockberger, and guitar player's name I'm forgetting. But Zach's like on-stage banter is just incredible. It's like some of the best stand-up comedy, and he doesn't even know how good it is. It's just like, it's just so killing. You could just watch a whole hour of that. But the music was great too, of course. Yeah, and I've gotten to talk to Keith a fair amount, you know, about drumming.
Yeah.
I did that 3-week tour with him. That kind of screwed me up in the best way possible because it was like he got such a huge sound out of the drums. Like it's just gigantic if you're standing in front of it, and it doesn't hurt your ears. It's just beautiful but gigantic. And I would get on the kit, and I would sound like a bunch of mosquitoes with machine guns, and he sounded like this big, like warm, like I don't know. So I was like, I kind of started. So I would kind of ask him things here and there about how he got his sound. I'm not nothing like geeky, like, hey, how do you do it? But just like kind of listen, you know, when he started talking about stuff or whatever. And then actually the main thing that it was, oh, you got me going now. But the main thing was there was a gig that I almost missed in Chicago. I missed my flight, and those guys got there. And I had Keith's sticks because he had forgotten them the night before, and I brought them with me. And he was like, yeah, make sure, you know, if you could bring my stick bag, that'd be great. Like I bought some sticks at the store, but they're a little different than the ones I have Vic Firth send me or whatever. So I made the gig just barely. It was like the best action movie you've ever seen, of like just running to get this train and then get to this drop-off point where like this guy will pick you up and drive you to the gig, and I walked right on stage, and we started playing like right then. Anyway, so I got Keith the sticks, you know, and he was like, yeah, I'm really, it really makes a huge difference. Thanks so much. It's like, you know, it's like the weight of it. It's like, if the weight isn't right, I can't get the right throw, you know? And I was like, throw. It was just that one word. And I was like, oh, you throw your drumsticks, you know? And I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, that was 2 years ago, and that totally changed my shit. You know, my sound has completely changed since then. Of like, yeah, wow, this is easy, and now I can play loud, and it doesn't hurt anybody's ears. And
you worked on that.
I did, yeah. I mean, my technique was
just on that one word.
Just on that one word.
When you were like, throw.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's how you get that sound. Yeah, exactly. And then it just opened up this whole avenue of dynamics and everything. You know.
When you do that, does that then affect, again, like the bass and the guitar? Do you start approaching that differently?
I think so, because I think it's like, my sound is way better on the drums than it was 2 years ago, thanks to Keith in that conversation. So I think I start to see the shape of notes and like where the transient lies, and what I'm talking about with how people's grooves expand when they get older, and who knows how that happens. So I start to see that in one instrument, and then somehow it starts to creep over into another one. I'm not really sure how.
Because you're conscious of that idea, even, and so it becomes, you apply it.
Yeah, and actually more than the bass and the guitar is singing. Like that, the way that my drumming changed with my sound, and my drumming changed, it really informed my singing to like try to get the same openness and throw my voice in the same way, where you're not squeezing it or whatever, you know?
Right.
Anyway, yeah, So yeah, that, and then D'Anthony Parks was a huge influence. I don't know if you know him very well, but
I don't. I've never met him.
Dude, yeah, he's
a badass.
He's unbelievable. He really is, and like nobody really knows except for like me and Mark Juliana. We're the only guys who know how great he is.
You think so?
I mean, of the drummers that I ever talked to, I'm like, do you know D.N.T. Parks? They're kind of like, you know. It's like, dude, have you heard, like, you know, so I kind of show them the records or whatever.
People are saying, eh?
Well, I mean, they just haven't heard.
Well, some people are tough, yeah.
Some people are tough, or he's not in the jazz world, so they're like, I haven't heard him on a record that I would have known that's in our world, you know, because he's smart enough to stay out of it, sort of, you know. But, yeah, so, I mean, they haven't heard him do that kind of stuff or what he can do, you know. But I got this record that he was on, I'm going to send to you. He did in 2003 with a friend of mine, and it's just drums and electronics, and he just went in and played blast beats at 300 beats per minute in odd time signatures, and then this guy programmed a record around it. And it's just the most incredible improvisations of just like that kind of language, of like drum and bass kind of language, but it's D'Antoni's own thing that nobody's ever done before or since. It's like his own language, really, you know. So that record was really big for me. Yeah, who else? Jim Black was a huge influence. God, there's so many guys. I could just go on forever now.
Sure. I get it. Yeah. Now, you mentioned real quick that the jazz world and all that. You see the different politics of the different worlds there, as the jazz and the pop world and the.
I mean, sort of, but not really, and I don't really care anymore. But it's just like I moved when I was here. When I was in LA, I was doing a lot more pop stuff, more singer-songwriter stuff, doing more tours, like that rock band that we toured with for a couple of years. And then I moved to New York to play with more jazz guys and to like be around my favorite drummers and learn and, you know, play with those kind of players, you know, or whatever. So there's maybe a politics and there's maybe a divide, and I haven't really done any pop gigs since I've gotten there. So, or pop sessions. Nobody really thinks of me that way, but I don't care because I'm mastering records, and I don't think of myself as like I'm a musician waiting for a gig. It's like, yeah, I can take it or leave it. I could probably make a living just mastering. So, you know, I'll just play with these badasses and really enjoy the hell out of it and make my own music. And so, and I think there's definitely some politics to it, but as I said, I don't really care. But there is politics. And like I did a bunch of touring with Taylor Hawkins, playing guitar. So it was funny to like talk to those guys like about, or when they would talk about jazz, you know. You know, I don't know. And it was really just like another world.
They didn't know anything about it?
Not really. I mean, you know, like.
And they're sort of asking you, or like.
It's hard to describe. Like Taylor, like loves all music. He's like the biggest fan.
But he's another level. That's the thing. You're dealing with a guy who's used to a certain level of touring and. Yeah, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, like we're all like in the end, we're all music fans, right?
And like in the end, he's just like a 10-year-old kid who loves Rush. You know, but he happens to be in the most successful band in the world, and he's an amazing drummer too, like amazing musician. But he's just a music fan. Like he just loves the shit out of music, and he loves who he loves, and he loves learning about new stuff, and you know he loves Billy Cobham and stuff too, and loves Keith. Like he saw Keith Carlisle play with Sting, and he was just like, what the fuck, you know. But when they talk about jazz, it's really like it's so removed. You know what I mean? When he talks about like. I don't know. It's just very removed. There's like no real relationship between the two. And I don't know. Maybe it goes the other way. I don't really know. I don't know.
Because you don't care.
I don't care, exactly. And it's fun because I've gotten to kind of be in both worlds. So
you're not hustling to get into that at all. Yeah, no. He's shaking his head. And
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
And that's a good place to be.
It is a good place to be. And I really, you know, like... I'm so thankful that I don't have to tour to make money, because that's a lot of people are looking for that, and that is just a trap. Like I love being home with my wife and my dogs, and you know, getting to play amazing gigs at the 55 Bar. You know, and I don't have to worry about going on the road to make X amount a week to pay for my New York habit. You know,
because of mastering.
Yeah.
And you love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's awesome.
And this is all comes back to, I mean, again, your dad was an engineer as well. I was just figuring you pick some stuff up then, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
it all starts.
Yeah, it all starts. I mean, for me, it's just like, you know, the chip off the old block thing. But my dad gave me his old gear every time he'd get a new generation. So I started on a TIAC track reel to reel with a Soundcraft board, and then he got rid of his ADATs and gave me an ADAT, and I got to cut a couple records on that. And then I started buying gear, and then pretty soon I had the same system that he had, so I could call him and be like, Dad, how do I export 3 drum files? And he would be my tech support and stuff. So yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have other interests today? Or still?
Real estate a little bit.
Real estate. Like looking to buy some stuff?
Yeah, like I own a house here. So, I mean, it's just like, I'm interested in that. And, I'm interested in world economics. And I'm interested in politics and all that stuff. But in terms of like hobbies, like going to the beach and stuff, but pretty much hobby is music, at any time. It's like, like I just went on this crazy guitar tone quest 6 months ago, and that was like my hobby for that point. It was like sell everything, buy a bunch of new stuff, and get this new bitchin' tone, or whatever, redefine my sound or whatever.
How many guitars do you own?
Like 9 or 10, I don't know, and a ton of amps, 5 amps or something, lots of stuff. I have like an LA collection of gear in New York.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Which is ridiculous. I just have like piles of stuff,
Yeah.
So
a lot of basses.
Yeah, a few basses, yeah.
Drums, how many drum kits?
Only like 2 drum kits, because those are too big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we were talking about earlier, they're all the same. I mean, like a Gretsch is a Gretsch, and I like playing good kit, but I can make a Pearl Export sound really good.
That's the thing.
Honestly.
Prior to recording, when Billy was here, and we were talking about, like he was saying, like, Nate used on that tour, he was like, you used a Gretsch Renown. You didn't even try to use,
right.
USA Customs, or it's like, yeah, Nate, why'd you use the Renowns?
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, there are differences, and when you get on the best, it's like, oh, this is really great, and it's kind of like you're in a warm shower or something. But you can really, like, I think when you get to a certain level, like, you can make anything sound good.
Yeah.
I really think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's kind of half the fun of it too, isn't it?
It is.
Like don't give me the best. Give me that.
But sometimes when you're on the road and you get the best and you're just like, wow, I'm amazing. Like it really comes easy, and like, but more than that, it's like, okay, I've played on this kind of kit from this other SIR halfway across the country, and I remember what it sounded like, and it sounds a little better now. I think maybe my touch is really making the snare drum open up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's more fun than like, oh, I wish they gave me the the round badge that I always wanted or whatever. Right. Especially with drums, I tend to look at myself before I look at the gear, and 9 times out of 10, it can all be changed in my hands, so that doesn't mean that I don't want to play the best. Like everything that I play is my favorite shit. So anyway.
Okay. So a lot of gear.
Yeah.
And you can master from home.
Yeah.
Is there an average on one record that's going to take you, or
mastering is just a day?
One day?
Just one day,
yeah.
Yeah, between like 5 and 10 hours, 5 and 8 hours, something like that.
Just go in there and
go in there and do it. Yeah, and I used to mix records, and the reason I stopped doing that was because I'd go on tour in the middle of a mix, and then I'm screwed because people need mixes, and I can't do them because I'm on the road.
Right.
It takes too long. So mastering, it's like I have that day free or I don't, so I can either master your record or I can't, and then I'll be on the road for 3 weeks. If you can wait that long, I'll do it when you get back, So
right.
It's much easier.
I mean, can I ask you, like, if I was talking to you as someone who's going to master my record, like, Nate, why you? What do you do? That's what's different about your mastering?
Oh, I do as little as needed. If the mix is perfect, I will do as little as needed. If the mix needs something, I will do also as little as needed, but as much as needed to make things really pop. And I use all analog gear, so it's, my chain is like very carefully selected and honed down to like exactly what I think it needs, So that's the main thing, and I understand all genres, and I understand what music needs to sound good, and also I'm very affordable. So those are the reasons. But I master for some kind of high profile guys when they don't use like Sterling Sound, like top level guys, and they come to me because I don't screw their stuff up, So
you've worked with John Tesh.
Yeah, I've worked with him for 10 years.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
A good guy?
Great guy. And that's a really fun gig musically, and he's a fun boss. He's a really cool guy, and he loves prog rock, and like when Tim Landers, the bass player, got me to sub on the gig, he's like, I don't know how John's gonna like him, because I was kind of known as like a New York player before I moved to New York, as like the X Factor, like who knows what he's gonna do, you know?
Right.
Which, like, compared to the X Factors in New York, it's pretty tame, but still, like, I would go for something if I was hearing it, you know? And John loved it. Like, I did it on the first gig, and John was like, well, I want this guy, you know? So I've done it. I've played with him for 10 years. It's been awesome.
He just lets you do your thing.
He lets me do my thing, yeah. It's great. And he got, like, a nice scratch kit that he has ready for me with exactly what I want, and super cool. So, yeah. And it's not that many gigs a year. It's like 30 gigs a year or something.
I enjoy his radio show. He gives advice. I love that.
I know.
It's like stuff out of a magazine or something. You know?
That's right.
If you have a job interview the next day, try this trick.
Yeah.
Put lemons under your eyelids, you know?
Right,
You know, it's like some kind of that shit, you know?
Good radio voice, by the way.
Yeah, well.
You.
I got a side job.
Next life.
My next life. John Tesh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But he just started a TV version of that, too.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, he did?
Expanding, yeah. That same format.
That's good. That's fun.
Uh-huh.
But the mastering, though, I wanted to say, what are some albums that your touchstone for great mastering? What are?
Oh, it's tough. It's really tough. I don't love anything, honestly. Like, I don't.
That should just sum up your whole. Yeah.
No, you know what? It's funny. Like, I probably give more props to drummers than I do to any other instrument. I don't really know why that is, especially mixing and mastering. There are no guys where I'm like, he's the guy. That's perfect. You know, it's like.
What about an album, though? Is there?
Not really even that either. There's things that I like about certain records and things that I like about other records, and they're just different. Like, Bob Ludwig is perfect, but I don't love his tone. Like, I love spectrally, it's all there, but there's something that doesn't invite me in and just be like, wow, that is a very luxurious sounding recording or something. I don't know what it is. Every guy has that quality to them that I don't like, and it's just like a personality thing, you know.
And there isn't that one record that you can say that record I think sonically is.
No, not really, because there's flaws that I hear in all of them, or there's things that I don't like, or they're just a thing. You know what I mean? It's just like with drummers too, though. It's like who's your favorite? Like, for me to say, like, who's your favorite drummer? It's like, well, I don't know, because like this guy kind of plays this beat the best, but this guy's open solos are amazing. But this guy, you know what I mean? Like, it's who knows? You know, it's kind of like that in mastering. It's weird, even though it just seems like such a simple process. Or who knows?
No, I think the more you do know. I mean, I know a little bit, and I know it's not simple, but I mean, that's why I didn't know if you have anything you'd ever say to someone like, "This is what I go for." If you want to hear a record,
the guy who taught me this was this guy Joe Gasswert, who mastered the Kneebody records, and he mastered my first 2 solo records, and he used to master all my dad's stuff. And I actually really love his masters. He's kind of old school dude. He did like a bunch of Miles records and like Hendrix reissues, and just like he's done a bunch of really cool records, like the Emmylou Harris Wrecking Ball record, like just like kind of classic records. And he's a classic mastering engineer with a very simple philosophy of like, you plug the best shit into the best shit and you do very little and it sounds awesome, you know? So he's my mentor, that guy, Joe Gasswert. And he helped me with my first pieces of gear when I was trying to piece together these EQs that didn't exist anymore, that had unobtainium parts. And he was like, I've got some, you know, whatever. So anyway, he's great.
Is it more interesting to master for vinyl than it is for digital?
It's more entertaining to master for somebody who's not asking you to make a really loud record. That's when it's pretty boring. Or it's like, I don't want to listen to this. But actually, it's most interesting when you get either a great song or like a great mix, you know. That's when it's really fun, you know. But yeah, mastering for vinyl is good because there's more headroom. So yeah, that is fun.
It is better? You like it?
Yeah, because you can leave more headroom, and that's nice.
Okay.
You don't have to dumb it down for CD. So.
Could you see yourself doing less playing and more mastering? Could you see that kind of taking over more?
You know what? I've already gotten to the point where there's sometimes where I'm mastering 4 or 5 records a week and I'm not doing a gig. So there are points, like last year, I definitely made more money mastering. I started to get pretty depressed because it's not the same kind of brain workout if I go and like spar with somebody in the 55 bar. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. You're alone.
Yeah, you're
it's
alone.
Just you and the.
Yeah, and it's like it's not communication. You know, I love communicating with musicians, and like that's why I like playing improvised music with like, You know what I mean? With great guys.
But that's what I mean. It becomes more of an outlet.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right? Like.
Yeah, but it's still, it's hard to say. It's still like my primary focus, at least musically.
Mm-hmm.
But this other thing is just like mastering is like, I really enjoy it, and it's just like kind of creaking up and getting better and better. But
that's what I was kind of getting at.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that? I mean, it looks like you have.
Oh, yeah.
Like projected. Well, what if?
Yeah, no, I'd have to play.
I couldn't do this.
No, I'd have to play.
Right.
Even if like I had an injury or something and I couldn't play drums or something, I'd still just spend a ton of time writing music, or because that's my first thing.
Right.
I start to become disconnected from it if I'm mastering. So.
Do you see yourself moving into another realm? Like maybe, do you see yourself like your dad, or like composing for films and moving into these other worlds?
Yeah, maybe. But right now, I'm just writing selfishly. I'm just writing songs for myself that I think sound cool. So, but that could change. But again, that's another industry that you have to chase that I have no interest in, because I have friends who've tried to chase that industry, and that's way worse than trying to get the gig with Justin Timberlake or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like that, because there's real money in that industry, and there's back end money. Like all these things don't exist, and you have to eat dirt for so long and fight it out with a lot of schmohawks, and like have a lot of people tell you a lot of things that you don't want to hear about how you need to write your music or pay attention to current music that you don't like. It's like, I don't want to do any of that. I'd just rather write cool music that I think is cool,
Right.
So, anyway.
Not in the mood to play the game of politics.
Yeah, exactly. Music is, I love music. I don't want to like not like music, and if my job makes me not like music, then I got to do something else.
Right.
So.
Right. You mentioned your wife a bass player. Do you play at home together? Yeah,
we have a group together. We made a record called Wii U.
But I mean, at home, like, do you two just...
Sometimes.
Is it ever like, hey, when I just...
Not really that. It would be focused. It's like, she's like, hey, I have a gig coming up with X drummer. He might throw me off. Can we like go play through these songs and you play your craziest shit with me?
Gotcha.
Or we'll just like play James Brown grooves together sometimes if we want to, we're, independently working on that kind of stuff. But most of our gigs that we do together, I'm playing guitar and she's playing bass. I don't really know how that happened. I'm not really sure, but she's a great bass player. She has one of the best feels of any bass player I've ever played with. And I'm not the only person to say that, so... Yeah, she's really good.
I try.
Yeah.
If you have a 3-month tour,
and
it's you're gonna be a guitar player or a bass player. Which is more exciting?
You know what? It doesn't really. I'd rather play drums, but I'm not really sure. It depends on who it's with.
Is there neither instrument? You can't. It doesn't work that way for you. It depends on who it's with.
Yeah, it depends on who it's with. Yeah.
It's not like one, like, oh, I'm really into guitar lately. I'd pick that.
Not really. Yeah, because like if it's that long away from like the drums are kind of my like.
I picked that long just for that point.
I know. Yeah.
You're going to be getting into this. You're going to be doing this for a while.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Maybe guitar, because there's a little bit of a hobby aspect to it, because the tone thing with guitar is like really hobbyist, and I enjoy that. So maybe that. Yeah, it'd probably be that. Probably guitar.
And you think under those circumstances you might not play drums at all during that time?
Oh, I'd practice and stuff if I could. Yeah, for sure. I'd play on a pad for sure.
Okay, you would do that,
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have to keep it up. Like we did that 3-week tour with Wayne and Keith, and I definitely lost steam on the kit. Like on the last gig, we were playing, and I was like kind of dragging, and I was like, "What's going on?" Right. Like just facility wise, just things kind of weren't. Anyway, so yeah, things definitely. If you don't do it all the time,
Yeah.
So, anyway. Yeah.
Well, all right, man. Listen, I know, like I said, you're out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where? Tell me where again you're going.
San Luis Obispo.
Right. That's not
Donnie.
far.
Yeah, not that far.
You doing how many shows with Donnie?
It's actually like it's a college thing, so we're like teaching the big band and playing through big band charts, and then doing some concerts and stuff like that.
You're doing charts?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I guess so. He's like, you're gonna have to play some big band charts. You okay? Is that cool? I'm like, yeah, of course. It'd be fun. So.
Your reading's up. You got it up.
It's okay.
Yeah.
My ears are good enough so that people think I'm a really good reader, but I'm not very good. I'm just kind of okay. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Well, Nate, I appreciate you doing this, man.
Cool.
And we'll catch up, man. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I did that. What? Do it.